Hello everybody, this is Rich Epp with Common Joe Flyer Videos. What I have here is a bunch of parts for upgrading and customizing my 130X. And what I'm going to do now is these are all Lynx. The Lynx is carbon fiber frame. What I'm going to do is, for the ease of assembly, I'm going to build a tail. I got the full tail here. I'm going to build the tail, and I'll assemble that on first. And then before I actually put it in there, I'll double check all the screws, make sure that they're tight and nothing is loose. Now the Lynx frame will come pre-assembled, and you just go through, kind of check the Loctite on all the screws and everything. Lynx does have a schematic of the frame disassembled, and how it goes together and everything on their site in a PDF. So if you need to replace any parts, do maintenance, replace bearings or anything, go ahead and go to that PDF to see how the frame is assembled. What I really like about the frame is my elevator servo isn't as sloppy as what it was in the stock frame. The stock frame, my elevator servo was had some play in it for sloppiness in the mount. Now it's locked down tight. You do not have to split the frame to get it out. You can get it both screws. I do recommend taking the battery plate off for the left side screw. You take the battery plate off, and then your screwdriver, you can just reach straight back for that screw. The screw on the right side, you can get it that from on the outside of the frame. The frame is very rigid, very durable. The locking down on the boom, I really like it. The boom is solid. It's got a CNC plate on the one side that draws the carbon fiber together, and then it's got the the CNC blocks. I really like it. I went with the plastic anti-roll because at this time I'm still running the stock swash plate. So the plastic anti-roll pin, I figured, or anti-rotation pin, I figured it would work better sliding up against the plastic anti-roll or rotation. The CNC, I think, would have start cutting on the plastic pin, but when I go later to the Lynx swash plate, then I'll convert this over to the CNC anti-roll, I think. But I'm very happy. The bearings are really super smooth. It went together really good. The A and B gear lash, I went with the metal blade A gear, and the B gear, I just ran a little washer. I believe it's for the extra shim for that I have for behind the grips. I didn't have to use them because my grips are really good. But I believe it's a washer for a shim right here, and I put it behind my B gear, and my valve lash is perfect, and my B gear is at the correct height with the A gear. As far as for the depth of it and everything, I get full tooth contact, and it worked out really good. I just put that shim on the torque tube right behind the B gear, and then I assembled it. I'm still using the stock gear. I'm looking at upgrading that later to the Lynx one. I double-sided taped the speed controller and board, and then I also zip tied it. It flies really super smooth, and I don't even have it 100% dialed in yet. It's so smooth that there's absolutely no vibration of the tail fin at all. I flew it in the house with the tail in, and no vibration at all. I cannot say enough how much I like this frame over the stock plastic. Everything is out in the open, but yet it's strong. It has no flex. It was really easy routing wiring. I used little zip ties. I'm not real concerned about weight. I'm a sport flyer. I'm not one of the guys where I try to get my helicopter as light as possible. I really like the Ultra Flex landing gear. It has a nice stance. It has a nice look, and they have enough flex where I won't have to replace them like the blade ones. But the third bearing boom, like I said, this thing is so smooth right now. It's just as smooth as my 300, my 500, my 550. If it hovers, I did a hands-off hover for a slow count to 5, and like I said, I'm still not fully tuned in. But everything is real simple and easy. The frame is really nice. But for right now, for the very first thing, I'll go through on 130. I'll take the blades off so it's easier to work with, and I'll mark my wires. Make sure that they're accurately marked for transferring everything over, and then I'll remove the the head and the main gear, bring that unit out, and kind of get it ready. I have a DFC head here. I'll be building that, installing it on the shaft. But then I'll go ahead and I'll build a tail boom, and I'll assemble that on so that it's a lot easier to get at the I think it's called the B gear. I get mixed up on which gears are which on the 130. I guess it's A, B, C, and D. But yeah, so that it's easier to get the tail gears. I'll go ahead and I'll assemble the boom on this frame first. So, but for right now, I'll take these blades off, and I'll start disassembling this bird so I can start assembling these parts, and I'll check back in with you. Okay, I got the blades off. Now what I did is to keep my push rods there so that they're pretty close for reassembly, I put my blades down. I put the one from the right side looking at the bird from the tail. I put the right side on the right side, the left side on the left side, and when I split the case, I'll put the aileron or elevator up here. Now I have the shaft out, and now I'll go ahead and I'll start taking this head off, and I'll start assembling my DFC head onto the shaft. Now in these micros, what I like to do for my Loctite is so I don't get a lot all over and on this carbon fiber parts and plastic parts. I'll put it on a toothpick, and I'll put it into the threads of the receiving threads. I'll just kind of wiggle it around, make sure it gets in the threads. And then what I'll do is I'll run it in. I'll run it back, because running it back and forward, it kind of sucks the Loctite into the threads. But I only run it back far enough to kind of suck it into the threads. And I'll just kind of clean it up. Now when I build a head, I'm a little bit different. I like running the spindle into the grip. I already Loctited this end. I like running it into the grip and kind of setting it up this way. Now on the DFC head, I'm going to install the washers first. The shim goes on.
then you have your damper, and I have my O-ring in the head already. So then it goes in. Now if this is too tight, then you just take the shim out. Washer's in on that end, the rubber washer, because that goes toward the head. Alright, and then the damper. And then my shim. Put it down a little bit. And then the other side will go on. And then I'll tighten that up and check and see if that's too tight or if that'll work. I think I'm going to leave it right there. That feels pretty good. So once you get once you get some load on it, she's good. So what I'll do is I'll take that back out and I'll Loctite it. Okay, so I got the head all done. So now what I'll do is I'll start assembling the tail, and once I get this pretty much assembled a ways, then what I'll do is I'll start disassembling this frame so I can get my gears and stuff. Now I got the full tail, the standard length suppressor tail, the full combo kit. With the push rod, the whole works here. So I'll go ahead and, well, the white blades with my theme, I'm gonna go ahead and where'd they go? There they are. I'll be putting my orange blades on. So the whites will be spares along with the greens. And the kit comes with the servo, so I'll be setting that up. Alright, and then alright, well, I'm gonna get started and I'll get back to you. Now I'm building your tail with your grips. There's a itty bitty little washer on the screw, and you do not want to lose that washer. Oh man, I need my fat fingers. I don't know if you can see that. Itty bitty little screw, or I mean washer. Well, I won't lie. I don't want to do that again anytime soon. I hate little itty bitty screws. Thank God they're the smallest ones I'm gonna have to work with. So, and then pitch slider will go on, but I gotta kind of put it together in sections. So.
Alright, what I did on assembling of the tail case will work for me, and this is post build, but I have no vibes in the tail or anything. Gear mesh is perfect. What I did was I loosened up this here bearing support, or this bearing mount, so that the bearing was a little bit sliding in there. Not enough to fall out, but slide a little. And I inserted the tail shaft through this bearing, then into the D gear, and then I used the silver one I had here that came with the kit. There's also a brass one, but I used the silver one. I loaded it into the gear, and then I slid it up to the bearing, and the bearing did slide outboard a little bit. And I slid all the way through the bearing. Then I kind of pushed the whole works together, and I pushed my outer collar all the way up to the bearing, and then I tightened up one side, and I rotated it to make sure that it wasn't binding or anything. And when it wasn't, when it wasn't binding, I went ahead and I Loctited both screws. That worked out really well. The bearing is a little bit out farther than what it is mounted when you get it, but there's no side play. The gear mesh is perfect, and it flies really super slow, or super smooth.
Get it all together. Okay, there's a note on here. Note: install the short fiber boom section into the frame. Note: necessary to use included sandpaper tab to fine adjust boom fitting in tail case. So that's what the little sandpaper is for. Okay, well, I'll get working on this.
Okay, here's my 130 now that I've gone through and finished my Lynx makeover on it. I'm very happy with it. Still tuning it in. Flies outstanding. I hover it in the winter now. I hover it in a little maybe 4x4 or 5x5 area and in the house here, and um, I even with the DFC head on it and stuff, it's flying so smooth. I can sit and I can hover it for a slow count of 5. I've had one hover where I did a slow count all the way up to 10 before I had to do any correcting with sticks. Really liking it. Well worth the time and effort. It's a fun little bird to work on. And I think you'll really enjoy it if you get into it. I took way too long getting into this size bird. I have to thank one of my friends for getting me started with it, because he sent me a stock built out of all his extra parts. And after flying it stock like that for a week or so, I had the bug, and I decided that it flew so nice that it was worth the extra attention. And so I went ahead and I did my upgrades here. But yeah, I really am liking it. I think it's going to be one of my more favorite birds to fly, because it's small enough I can fly it anywhere, but yet it's not so small that, well, I take it back. Other than the tail grips, the parts are not so small that I'm pulling my hair out trying to work with them with my fumble fingers. So maybe take this leap, guys, and try out the 130 size. It's a really nice bird. If you want to go this far with it, it flies a lot nicer. But stock, it does fly nice. But if you want to take it one step farther, you will not regret going this route. Until next time, this is Rich Knapp saying, happy flying.